by Geek
Cross.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I am a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with more requested reactions, and once again, we are reacting to a group for the very first time, Ghost 9.
We don't know anything about Ghost 9. But we did look at their profile before filming this, so we have learned that they are a 9-member boy group from Maru Entertainment, and that's where Park Ji-yoon is under, right? A lot of them, almost all of them, were on Mix 9 or Produce X101, and they're babies.
Yeah. Well, you kind of.
Kind
They're
of.
babies to me. Some of them are like a year younger than you. Yeah. Anyways.
So the two videos we're watching today are their debut, Think of Dawn, and then their first comeback and their only other title track, Zawal? W-all, because there's a period.
I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry.
There's no Korean either.
So yeah, you can tell that we're kind of floundering here, so apologies in advance if we don't say names, because we don't know them. Alright, let's go! Oh!
Ooh, amazing.
Oh! It feels dramatic.
I always have expectations for groups that have babies in it. This was not it.
Yeah. I really like the horn bass though.
What?
Oh. I just clapped.
What?
Wait. Whoa. Oh.
I think I do it again.
Oh. They didn't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
It's
glad
okay.
that they didn't. Dance break.
And to no surprise, very robotic dance break.
Mm.
Star Wars. Okay, sorry.
What? Star
I'll tell you
Wars?
later. I'll tell you later.
Okay. I'm like, where are you getting Star Wars from? This section feels like marching into war or something.
Mm.
Oh,
Which
they
kind
did
of
it
fits
this
with the
time.
music
They did it
video.
here. They did that. It's here. Is that what you meant?
About Star Wars? Kind of. I'll tell you after.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, this.
See?
그거. Oh! Oh! What were those legs in the back?
Transformers? Did I pick the wrong movie?
What?
Huh? Do they also have a storyline?
Of course.
Okay. Pause.
Pre-episode.
Oh. I'm just gonna say a couple of things that I liked about the dance because there were actually a lot. The first, lifting. They actually used quite a bit of lifting. Well, okay, so they used 2 lifts, but like for a K-pop title track, that's actually quite a bit of lifting. And it was really nicely timed. One of the, especially like the way they were shot in the music video, because there's the one at the beginning where, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, is picked up and then he like arches backward and falls as his part ends and they like cover him up. And it's really nicely used. And then in a similar fashion, there's a time, I believe in the second verse, where someone else gets on one of another member's shoulders and then they kind of like move upstage, so away from the audience, and cover him as he's moving. And it's just really nicely timed. So I really liked that. The part we both freaked out about, I'm not going to talk about too long, but I just wanted to say the musicality there was so nice. The chest, it's like they're breathing and it's like they're taking in breaths and preparing for something. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, especially because it's right before the chorus. And I was like, oh, this is like a really nice build-up and it kind of makes you like antsy and like, oh, what's gonna happen next? But my favorite thing about this choreography is the groupings that they use. And this is one of my favorite things that people can do in choreography, because it's not that they're using small groups where some people leave the stage and it's just like a couple of members and they're kind of taking turns. They're all on stage the whole time, but they're breaking up the choreography they're doing into groups. So sometimes people will like freeze and then the other, like half the members will keep dancing and then they'll switch. Or better, and they do this a lot in the final chorus and it makes it feel really epic. Okay, so in dance, like a sequence of choreography is called like a phrase. And so there's actually 2 phrases that they're doing, and it's like alternating lines, and they're complementary, but they're different. If the second line's arm goes this way, then it makes the front row move over, and like if the first line goes down, then like the others come up. Like it's really nice to look at and it just creates these beautiful stage pictures. Yeah, it's kind of like parts of a machine moving, and it's really, really cool. And similarly to that, something else that they do really nicely is use their stage depth. Their choreography isn't just moving horizontally or like kind of forward and back. It really, there's a couple of parts where they actually like congregate towards the back of the stage and then move forward. So like you were saying in the music video reaction, it's like they're marching into battle. In the choreography they're like moving forward like they're marching into battle. So honestly, my last comment is just, I'm already excited to see how this choreography ages with them, because they're doing it really well now, but there's a lot of like mature movements and like powerful movements that I'm just like, imagine when they're a few years older and have a few more years of experience, how much more powerful it's going to seem, because it's already like at a high level. So I'm excited to see like how much more awesome it's going to be. Anna's turn.
Okay, so like to no one's surprise, there's a lot of synth usage in this song, but it makes sense because of like the music video and like the concept storyline that they seem to be establishing. One thing I mentioned was like the synth horn bass that they use. I really liked it because, like you also mentioned, I said like it feels like they're marching into war. So the way that they use it in most of the song, when they do use it, is it only plays once at the beginning of each phrase. In my mind, I'm dividing the phrase into 2 measures, hitting at 1, 2, 3, 4. But it only hits at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So it's very spaced out. And also when it does play, it only hits on that first beat and then it eventually fades out. It's not sustained throughout the whole phrase. So it makes it feel more grounded and heavier, darker, because it's also the bass. Because the music video was very dark too. But anyways, talking about the part that we really like, which is that interlude that happens between the first pre-chorus and the first chorus. Honestly, after you said Star Wars, I was like, oh my god, it's like Darth Vader. It's like the Imperial March, that section when you hear that line playing, because it's really ominous. But then I was thinking about it in context of the whole song and like the whole storyline, because when it happens, you like feel the pre-chorus build up and it's like, okay, we're getting ready. Like we have hope in this build up, and then you're immediately brought down. I was like, oh, their like spirits have been dampened? What happened? but they still need to go on to the war during the chorus. That section, like we said, doesn't play before the second chorus. It just goes straight from the second pre-chorus into the second chorus. But it comes back and plays between the bridge and the final chorus. And then the last thing I have to say was, like, vocally, the vocals aren't as harsh as I expected for such a heavy song. During the verses especially, they get kind of not drowned out, maybe overpowered a little bit by such a heavy instrumental, but you can hear them shine through more, like during the pre-chorus, since it does pull back a little bit and get softer. Anyways, I enjoyed that. I want to know what happens next, so let's go.
Okay, so now we will be watching Ghost 9's first comeback. Their only comeback so far. Wall. W-all. Don't know.
There's a period, so let's go.
It's literally Transformers.
It's Transformers.
Ooh.
Oh. Oh.
Ooh, their hands came together on that. Skin?
So it's Wall.
Mm.
It's so much brighter. Oh?
Oh, that's so cool.
No!
I'm really invested in the storyline.
Me too! Sorry, that's why I'm so quiet right now. Is this on their side or against them?
I think
On
it's
their
for them.
side. Right? Ah.
So I have kind of two main comments about this one. The I'm the wall. Well, I think it's kind of the chorus. It's the I'm the wall part. I think that's really interesting for several reasons, because the most obvious interpretation of it is the way their arms are. Their arms are out, very obviously like creating some sort of barrier. But I find other things about it more interesting. So one of the things is the way that during that part, they're also moving forward, which kind of gives it this, it's not aggressive because they're not moving aggressively, but they are moving steadily forward, which gives it kind of this like, if I say reliable feeling, it's gonna sound weird, but that's what it comes across as. Like they're coming towards you, like they're creating this variable, it's impenetrable. Which is basically what they're saying there anyway, like I can be the one that protects you. But what I find even more interesting about it is the way their formation is, because usually in K-pop dances, for the most part, unless it's like a very specific moment in the choreography where you're trying to group people together, you try to keep members spread apart so they can always have their faces shown. That's just, I mean, like even not just in K-pop choreography, that's kind of just a general dance rule. Like you find where you can show people's faces. Yeah, your windows. But especially in songs that are going to be broadcast on television, you find where like you can get picked up by the camera. But very intentionally, they are overlapped there a lot, and they actually become more overlapped the longer that part happens because they're changing formations. And so it really does become this like impenetrable wall where you can't see through them to see what's behind them, which I find very fascinating. I don't know. I was really taken with that. I watched it several times. My other big comment is that I really love the composition of their choreography. Like, I don't know who's responsible for it, but I really love the way that they've put it together. Because there are some really interesting things in there. Again, they did the thing I talked about with Think of Dawn, where they had the different complementary sections or like complementary parts happening at one time. They do that a lot, especially in the chorus and in the final dance break. They also did use small groups this time, which was really interesting, especially the way they played off of each other and coming in and off of the stage in the second verse. But this time they also played with facings a lot, which is something else you don't see a ton in K-pop. Like people will turn around, but to do part of a dance where the front, where your front, like the way you're oriented, is not the front of the stage, is not something that you see a ton, because they literally have parts of this where half the group is doing the choreography facing backwards. And it's not like, oh, we're mirroring, so that's why I'm facing backwards. It's like they're mixed into the formation. And it just creates such interesting stage pictures. And I'm really taken with whoever's doing this choreography because it feels very dance-like, not very K-pop-like. So I really like that. And I just used all of my time saying those two comments. So cool, dramatic music video, check. Anna's turn.
I mean, like I said in the reaction, this song is much brighter than their debut, Think of Dawn, for many reasons. I mean, one of them is that they're continuing the storyline, and based on where the storyline is going with the music video, like they're showing what I think the utopia is that they were referencing in the past in the debut song. So it has all the lights, and also in the song, they're even talking about like lights, lasers, and it's more like hopeful, brighter. Because they're talking about, like, being the wall to protect you. So going in chronological order, the very beginning of the song, the rhythms of it make you think of, like, the beginning of a spy movie. You know, when this guy is, like, slinking around and needing to be hidden. Which makes sense, too, because in the music video, I don't know who it is, I'm sorry. But he was really cute, and I was like, I wanted to protect him. But anyways, he was, like, trying to hide from the drone that was like going around and looking for them to catch them for some reason. I don't know why yet. We'll learn. I'm very invested in the storyline. Like that whole spy movie feeling. It still has that more like dangerous vibe. Like you can hear it in the first half of the chorus because they do use a 2-part chorus. But it has like, it's a little brighter, funkier. And that happens in the second half of the 2-part chorus. So it's an interesting contrast because also in the first half of the chorus, they're feeling the beat in more halftime, and then it goes back to 1, 2, 3, 4 for the second half of the chorus. Also, this one, there's more background vocals than there were in Think of Dawn. Like a lot of times you'll hear a layered harmony oh or ooh come through at the end of a phrase. They use that really well. They only do it on major chords, so it sounds brighter when it comes through. And also, like, one thing about like an O or an ah shining through like that, I use the word shining. It feels like it's shining through, which is interesting because they talk about like light and lasers. One thing I noticed a lot in the music video shots is like it would be like a face or like one of their faces or like something would be a focal point, but you'd see this like line of light behind them. It's a really nice effect of how they just all worked together. So yeah. This one was interesting.
Do you want a TLDR?
I can TLDR. So TLDR for this video is we reacted to Ghost 9 for the first time today. We didn't really know anything about them, but in case you couldn't tell by our reactions, we're very much intrigued. We're very invested in the storyline going on, so we're definitely going to react to them in the future and see the continuation of the storyline. Peyton, do you have a song that you preferred? I do.
Think of Dawn.
Me too.
That being said, if you enjoyed this reaction video to Ghost 9, Think of Dawn, and Wall, if you love Ghost 9 and also want to protect them, or if, like us, this was your first exposure to them and are very intrigued and want to see where this storyline goes, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe,
Ding.
turn on your notification bell, and bye!